Hi, this is Szilvia Somodi, and this is my video presentation about the adult learner field interview. Let me start by sharing my screen. And here we go. So I decided to interview one person, which would allow me to have a deeper understanding and more time to see how she views her learning experiences. My interviewee is actually one of my colleagues, so she also works in higher education. Her current position is academic program coordinator. Previously, she was an administrative assistant before she actually finished her master's degree. We have a good working relationship. That's exactly how I know that she was working on a master's degree program while working full time about the same time that I was. I thought this would be an interesting interview because I saw some similarities with my own learning history and experience, although I discovered quite a few differences as well. Her personal story is that her parents immigrated to the US from the Philippines. Therefore, although she was born here, she grew up in kind of a Filipino household where there was almost always a constant tug of war between the different values of Filipino values and American values. She said that her parents were very supportive of her, but they did not really emphasize the importance of college education. That's why she didn't feel like she had the option or the courage to go to college after high school. So she joined the workforce right at 18. She's currently in her late 40s, and because she is nearing the 30-year mark in a state job, she is hoping to retire in a couple of years. So, first, I asked her what motivated her to go back to school, and that was interesting because with a chuckle, she said that it was mainly to keep up with her husband. And then she assured me that despite the chuckle, she was actually serious. Her husband had already finished two master's degrees and was embarking on a PhD degree journey, and she didn't want to be left behind. Naturally, she emphasized that she also wanted to get promoted and get a raise, which she ended up doing, and also to prove it to herself that she can actually do it. So we were working backwards from her educational history. She finished her Master's of Public Administration at the University of Georgia in 2023, which was mostly an in person program. She mentioned that she actually had a failed attempt at computer science master's, and she partially blamed the online format that does not really sync well with her learning strategies. She learns better in person, peer to peer learning, and discussions. But she also said that the subject matter was not really her favorite either once she started. Um, Going back to her bachelor's degree that she finished quite a few years earlier in 2010, that was in paralegal studies at Herzing University. Obviously, we share the same work environment, so we both attend professional development uh, sessions, mandatory trainings, voluntary trainings. But she also mentioned that she occasionally engages in non formal education outside of work, mostly for fun, book clubs, YouTube videos for cooking and crafts, traveling, the usual fun stuff. Although I did not use the actual vocabulary in my class because they were of margin of power and load sources, but I did ask her about what she found helpful and supportive in her journey, educational journey as an adult, and what were the barriers and challenges. Interestingly, she mentioned certain things that showed up on both sides, both the power and the load side. That was her family. They were very supportive, both her husband and her mother. But because her husband travels a lot, it ended up causing a busy home life for her where she had to hold down the front by herself a lot of times. And also, her mother was very supportive, but she needed help with certain things around the house as well because of her health problems. She also mentioned the employer support that was very important to her, not just with the work from home, flexible scheduling, but also with the tuition assistance program that's lifted the financial burden of her education. And she also mentioned that she found it very helpful that the professors themselves were understanding and allowed for some extensions in assignment deadlines. She was worried that she would not be able to perform well both academically and in her job. and that created quite an anxiety for her. But she felt validated when she, in 2023, actually received the Distinguished Employee Award for an exceptional job performance. And if you're not familiar with the tuition assistance program, it requires everybody participating to get at least a B in every course that they're taking. Obviously, she went for the A's most of the time that she got, and this work-life balance got validated with both of these achievements. When I asked her about her previous learning experience, mostly in high school, she actually recounted that she had negative experiences. She didn't feel that the students were very welcoming. Her teachers weren't really helpful or mentoring, and that's kind of where she did not establish good study habits, did not have a support group, peer-to-peer learning, group discussions that she later in life discovered really help her achieve her educational goals. This reminded me of Brockett when he stated that the teachers failed to create a welcoming climate where all learners are valued and have a voice, not because they are different, but because of how these differences can enrich the learning environment. I did not use the word transformative learning or the words transformative learning, but I did ask her about any life changing experiences that had a major effect on how she views education and learning. And she mentioned two separate incidents. The first was kind of a slow build up after a few years of working uh, for the state in a low paying, kind of a dead end job right out of high school. She realized that while it did give her the independence from her parents that she so much gained at that young age, without educating herself further, she was forever going to be stuck there. And she searched for an undergraduate degree program that she actually paid for out of her own pocket uh, once this disorientating dilemma uh, caused her some self reflection. That's the course of action she took. The other transformative event and disorientating dilemma actually came with the economic downturn of 2008 when she unfortunately lost her job and she could not find one in the town that she lived in at the time. So she had to move and she also had to enter a new field. And she promised herself that as soon as she gets the chance, she will enroll in a master's degree program so that she can diversify her skill set and never be in the position of having to look for jobs after being fired. When asked about her technology use, she obviously said that she takes advantage of all the modern devices and applications, both hardware and software, but felt it important to state that because she grew up mostly without using too much technology in her learning process and she learned it along the way, she can still adapt to situations where things are not working or there's, internet outages, and she can still read and write cursive and, you know, work with a calculator and not have to use all the different devices. She did say, though, that she uses technology more so for her personal learning, which kind of reminded me of Horrigan's concept of digital readiness. She said that she really enjoys how she can watch and then rewatch videos um, and learn at her own pace, whatever craft or hobby she's trying to improve on. When asked about her future learning goals, she again reiterated that she's relatively close to retirement, but because she's a lifelong learner and a believer in it, she would like to continue, but this time mostly for fun, not for necessarily a degree program. And she would like to engage in informal learning activities. She would like to master more of the culinary arts. And she can even imagine herself going for an associate's degree at a technical college, but she can also see herself doing workshops and online cooking videos, either locally or through traveling. Traveling was very important to her. She would also like to visit her parents' homeland and actually learn more about her heritage. When quizzed about whether this was a worthwhile journey, she said absolutely yes. And her advice to other learners would be just do it, and don't be afraid of all the difficulties, and rely on your support. And thank you for your attention. This was the summary of the field interview.